Hello, everyone. How are we doing tonight? That is lame. How are we doing tonight? Are you ready for a full frontal sonic assault? Too bad, because that's not going to happen. My name is James Leary. Most of you probably don't know who I am, and that's okay. Wow, there's nobody who knows who I am. Sweet! Thank you very much. Once upon a time, don't be an unprofessional, don't touch the mic. Sit back, relax, talk in their general direction. They will pick up your voice. It's good to know. I went close to it. I didn't touch it. Once upon a time, I was on a little show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and now I get to do fun things like this. So this panel is entitled She-Rock, and it's because we have two incredibly badass, hard-rocking guitar players, legends, about to come on stage. So why don't we give it up for Lita Ford and Nita Strauss. I think they're waiting for the fire to go off.
It's bright in here.
It is.
It's very bright. You need some Visine.
I know. I took a nap and it was a mistake.
Oh, is that what it was?
I promise it was just a nap.
Oh, God. Well, we did the She-Rocks Awards at the NAMM show the other day. And for the first time ever, I got to jam with 7 different women on stage, which was amazing. Nita was one, of course.
Yes.
And we had 6 other ladies on stage.
That's awesome.
The band was all female, and just kicking ass. It was the most amazing moment.
Women can't rock. That's insane.
I'm out of here.
So I'll cover for you. So that was an absolute honor to be able to do that for the first time in rock and roll history. I mean, Nita and I are both changing the history of rock and roll and the face of rock and roll, bringing in more women and doing what we do. Of course, we have our men that back us 100%. Without them, we would have to fight a little harder, but changing rock and roll history, which is why
That's
we're
awesome.
here.
Now, where was that?
The NAMM show in January, sorry.
Anaheim,
In Anaheim?
Yeah.
Okay.
California.
And who else was part of that show?
Oh, I know our show, we had Neely Bosch, Gretchen Menn. Who else was up there with us? I'm trying to go from left to right. Yossi Hofer. So, when there's 7 of us, and it does turn into a lot.
Bunch of girls.
How many solos were there?
There were 7.
7.
There were
Nice.
7 solos.
Sweet.
And
Just one
was
giant
such
solo.
It was such a huge, undertaking that, I sort of named myself the musical director. I said, Lita, why don't you just walk up to whoever you want to solo? Why don't we go counterclockwise and you just feel it. You just vibe it. And she, like the rock star that she is, just walked up to each person and vibed, 8 bars or 12 bars of solo time. And then we moved on. It actually was, for 7 girls. You ever try to get 7 girls to do the same thing at the same time? It's impossible. So
I was not going to say that.
so we actually somehow did pull it off. Super soda.
That's
This is
mutant.
cool. Mutant.
The Runaways were teenage, 5, but trying to get the Runaways to do the same thing at the same time. 5 teenage girls. It's like, I just started my period. What are you talking about? What's that? That was a task in itself, and a lot of fun though. I loved it.
Yeah, but you guys were so kind of ahead of your time.
Yeah, we were very ahead of our time, very much.
It's like, thank you for noticing that.
Well, yeah.
It was
Little mansplaining there for you.
a lot of people.
Didn't know you guys were ahead of your time.
Well, a lot of people didn't know how to take a female on guitar or on bass or on drums. And the Runaways were being one of the first. They were just not having it. The audience would try to throw things at us to distract us, and we would throw it right back. I was just telling one of the girls at signing that a guy came up to me and he stood right in front of the stage and he shook up a beer. And I'm singing and I'm playing guitar and I'm looking at him out of the corner of my eye, but he doesn't think I see him. I'm looking, my face is this way, but my eyes were down here. And he's shaking this beer, and I'm thinking, he's going to try and squirt me with this beer. I know what he's doing. He's going to try, just because I'm a chick. So he holds up the can, got it nice and shook up, and he gets the lid, and he's just about ready to pop that cork, and I kicked him right here. I'm sure I broke his wrist.
And that was just last Thursday.
Right, exactly.
It's just last. Yep.
Did you have some like sweet 70s heels on in
Of
order
course.
to do it? Yeah.
Cowboy boots. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask probably the most boring question ever. What inspired both of you to not only pick up the guitar, but to pick up the guitar and start playing mind-shredding rock and roll?
It's just in my blood. It was just something I wanted to do. Nobody ever told me that girls don't do this. You know, I mean, they do now, but when I was a kid, 11 years old, picking up a guitar, my parents bought me an acoustic guitar, and I could play all the Black Sabbath riffs and all the Led Zeppelin riffs. It was funny on acoustic guitar. But people would come from the neighborhood and watch and listen, and they couldn't figure it out. And I would say to them, why are you looking at me like that? You know, what's the big deal? They would say, how do you do that? And I would say, what do you mean? Why can't you do it? And they were like, well, because you can do it, but I can't. So it just, it was like I had my own personal fan club in that neighborhood, which was very cool. And it just stuck with me. I loved it so much. I went out and did some shows with some local artists, and got a phone call from Kim Fowley, who gave me the rap of a lifetime. I couldn't refuse.
He didn't seem like much of a talker.
Oh, he was.
I was going to say, Kim,
Yeah, no, that was-
I've met Kim a handful of times
Yeah.
myself, and it's hard to get a word in edgewise from what I remember. I had almost the exact opposite experience, actually. When I started playing guitar, nobody really thought I was going to be any good. And that was sort of the driving force that pushed me to get better. It was sort of like sheer force of will and stubbornness, because, you know, I started playing after seeing the movie Crossroads, and I saw Steve Vai
Oh,
in
yeah.
that movie,
That's
and how
awesome.
cool Steve Vai was in Crossroads.
You mean
I
you
see-
weren't inspired by Ralph Macchio?
So, you know, it's so interesting. It's so interesting, because how many of you guys are guitar players? All right, less than usual, but I think it'll still hit home. You see Crossroads, and you see the Ralph Macchio character, who's the hero of the movie. He's the protagonist. Steve Vai, by the way, is the bad guy. He's the devil. He's the devil's guitar player. And it's so interesting to see so many people that aren't inspired by the hero of the movie. You know, the hero of the movie, no one wants to go get that old Telecaster and get bottles thrown at them.
That would be me.
You got to kick the bottle out of the head. So it was seeing Vi in that movie that made me want to play guitar, and I got right into the shred stuff right away. You know, I got right into listening to Satriani and Paul Gilbert, and nobody thought I could play any of it, because not a lot of people, you know, Lita was out there doing it, and Jennifer Batten and Michelle Meldrum, but like really there weren't a lot of girls out there, and the Great Cat, you know, there weren't a lot of girls out there playing fast. So that was sort of my driving force, because I thought, well, what do you mean nobody says I can do this, you know? And I dealt with all the same stuff that all of these female musicians have dealt with, you know, getting asked to leave dressing rooms because it was for band members only, and, you know, like, hey, all the girlfriends out, you know, carrying
Ouch.
guitar cases in and having people think I'm carrying my boyfriend's case or something like that, you know, dealing with all that.
Oh, let me adjust your knobs for you.
yeah.
Do you ever get that one?
Oh, not
It's like,
anymore.
touch my knobs and you will die.
Yep.
And that wasn't a
Not
euphemism.
touch my knobs.
It's in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
In every sense of the word. But it's really cool now, and I think we can both agree that it's really amazing to be on the forefront of this, you know, surge of great female players where it's not so weird to go into a Guitar Center anymore and buy a musical, you know, a piece of equipment. It's not like, well, who is this a present for, you know? It's very, very cool.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, do you guys have questions? Are we doing questions at this panel?
It's a Q&A.
It's a Q&A, yeah. There's, do we have a microphone for them to come up to right here? All right, so if you want to ask questions, I believe there's a mic right up here.
You guys want to line up? Is that easy? Yeah.
Hi,
Hi.
big fan of both of you.
Thank you.
So my question about being women in music, like now we're kind of in an age where producers are maybe less important than they used to be, right? Because of YouTube. I guess maybe I'm asking, do you feel like producers and agents are less important than they used to be? Like, are there more opportunities for women now that we're not so heavy on the producers anymore? What do you think?
I think, for me, I've been doing this for 40 years.
Yeah.
And there's not very many producers out there that can't tell me something I don't already know. I don't need a producer. What I need is a good engineer and somebody who can just help me a little bit, say in the vocal booth, or say, you know what, Lita, that guitar sounds out of tune. Why don't you just check the tuning? So I prefer to do a lot of the work on my own because I can produce my own band. I can produce my own music. I just need somebody to back me up, and it's usually the engineer. So I don't have to rely on the producers anymore.
Do you feel like women have more access to that now?
Sure they do, but I don't think there's many of them. It doesn't seem like. It's almost like you have to go through the, you know, learn to walk, learn to crawl before you learn to walk before you run sort of thing. And playing guitar or playing an instrument seems to be the first step towards producing. You learn the music, you learn the sound of the music, what's right, what's wrong, what's out of tune. You know, what's crackling, little noises that a normal person wouldn't hear to the normal ear. You learn to develop a hearing for it, and then how to work the instruments, because they're constantly changing. For me, I started with analog, which was tape, you know, cutting out the drum parts, where now you can just mute,
Oh, yeah.
cut and paste, you know.
Yeah.
Simple,
Bass,
done.
mute. Easy. I mean, I think definitely it's more accessible. You know, I just released my first instrumental song on a compilation actually that we both were on as well, the She Rocks compilation on Favored Nations. And I produced, engineered, did the entire thing myself. The only thing I didn't do was the final mix and master. I think it definitely is accessible, not just for women, but for any musician. I think it's really more accessible. There's technology, there's YouTube. You can figure out how to do all this stuff yourself, you know, and people ask me, well, what was your recording process? I did the entire thing on my laptop. I went into a studio to do drums, but I did all the guitars and the bass and the mixing on my laptop, and GH Audio, Roxanne, in-ears. You know, it really is that easy if you put the time and you put the effort into it. But that being said, I think with that opportunity comes a responsibility to put out something good, because anybody that has a YouTube channel can put out, you know, whatever they want now, and that's, you know, it's kind of overwhelming to try
But
to
you need
discover.
someone to bounce your ideas off.
For God's sake, please, bounce your ideas off somebody. Like, you know, you take my song Pandemonium that I just put out. I didn't really bounce anything off of anybody. I just sort of did it on the fly to myself to see if I could do it. And then some of the feedback I got from the song was, this could have been like this part sounds like this, you know, and I thought, I do wish that I, you know, not that I want people telling me what I sound like or what I could sound like or how I could be better, because everyone has ideas of how everybody could be better, but I do think it's good to have a sounding board. It's important to remember that whether it's a, you know, a boyfriend or a trusted friend or a producer or somebody that knows music, it's good to bounce ideas off of somebody. It's important.
So, thank
Do you think that because so many of the traditional gatekeepers have been taken away due to social media and YouTube, that you now have to be even better to rise above
No.
everyone else that's out there?
No, not
Okay.
at all. You know that Gangnam Style song? That song is terrible.
Yep.
And it has more views than either thing that that either one of us has ever done. And Lita, like she said, has been doing this for 40 years, and that song is awful.
I think it has more views than God.
Yeah,
actually.
you know, I think the gateway is gone, and that means anybody, like I said, anybody can put out anything. You know, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So
to,
in essence, it's made the industry harder.
it's hard to be seen. It's hard to be seen when there's so much out there to see. You know,
Yeah.
when you Google girl guitar player and you get, you know, you YouTube girl guitar player and you get 50 million results, half
You get a
of which
Barbie
are,
doll
you know,
or something, you
Exactly.
know.
It is harder to get seen. You have to cut through. You have to cut through your stuff. You have to have authenticity. You have to, you know, be very real and be who you are and stand by your ground and keep your loyalty and your ethics. And I think that's the type of thing that makes you really rise to the top and have longevity.
It's about your voice and
Absolutely.
how loudly you can sing it.
Yeah,
Developing your own style.
definitely.
Be a leader and not a follower, I guess.
So I just wanted to say, Nita, I saw you with Alice Cooper in Austin, Texas,
Fun.
and it was awesome.
Thank
And-
you. Texas shows are always
Yes,
good.
no,
Yeah, yeah,
you gave me
yeah.
goosebumps. It was amazing.
Thank you.
And then Lita, one of my favorite songs is "Close Your Eyes Forever" that you did with Ozzy, and I was just wondering how it was like working with Ozzy and like what the true meaning is behind that song.
Well, that song was actually an accident. He came to the studio with Sharon, and I had just bought a house, and he brought me a housewarming gift, which was a life-size duplicate of Coco the gorilla from the San Diego Zoo. As big as you, and I had to drive home. I mean, we spent all night in the studio. The sun was up. It was probably 7 o'clock the next morning, and we were still in the studio drinking, playing pool, writing songs, and we wrote "Close My Eyes Forever" that night. We didn't mean to. We just came up with it. And I said, Ozzy, what is this song about? And he says, I picture myself standing on top of a mountain, looking over the world with my eyes closed. And I thought,
Sharon!
I get it, I understand. But I think really what it's about is a bad relationship. And will you ever forgive me? How will you ever love me like you used to? You know, will you ever get over what I did? Because he was going through hell at that time with drugs and his wife and things like that. And I think it came out in "Close My Eyes Forever," which was awesome. It was his first top 10 hit single.
Wow.
Because Black Sabbath was not commercial enough to become a top 10 hit single song. They were just too dark and too heavy, and radio wouldn't have it. But when I released "Close My Eyes," it took him away from Sabbath and put him on my record, and it became a whole different animal. And then it went top 10. So that was awesome to have a top 10 with Ozzy.
Yes,
W-
thank
Was
you.
since it obviously had nothing to do with it, was it weird to have it sort of correlate to suicide? Because I remember at the time there being like this whole hubbub that it was this song about suicide
No, it's
and
more
like lovers,
about...
and it
It's more about,
very
will you
misconstrued.
love me until the day I die? You know, will you ever forgive me until the day I die? Will you still love me? It's nothing to do with
Right.
suicide. I mean, there's no songs in there. Like my last album, I have a song called "A Song to Slit Your Wrist By." Now that song could be a suicide song,
really? Huh, that's weird.
but not "Close Your Eyes Forever."
Yeah.
But people have come up to me and said, you know, my sister died last week, and I played "Close My Eyes Forever," and it suits a funeral. It suits that, but it's not about that.
Right.
So, song to slit your wrist by, yeah.
Definitely.
But it's not something you'd want to play at a funeral. It's about my ex-husband. Honey, I wrote you a song.
You're gonna love it.
I remember you.
A couple hours ago. Alright, so I have to ask for the both of y'all. Y'all have clearly come into contact with so many guitars. I have to ask, do you have a favorite?
Bye. That's mine. Steve Vai.
Are you looking at me? I can't see anything.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm
My
just,
answer was so
it
short.
was
That's my whole
both of
answer.
y'all. Yeah.
Vi is a completely different technique, style of playing than what I grew up on. I mean, I love Vi, and he's just so intelligent and so magic on that guitar. But I grew up on a different style and a different era, a different decade of music, which was more like the riffs, the Black Sabbaths, the Deep Purple, Machine Head, and Ritchie Blackmore. I loved Michael Schenker's playing, and Jimmy Page, you know, that kind of feely, bendy, noisy crap that you didn't play to a click track. You just played it. You felt it.
This is payback, by the way, because I asked you who your favorite guitar player was earlier. So I know. That
Who's your favorite guitar
This
player?
is a payback question.
That's a good question.
All right.
Who's your guitar teacher?
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, congrats. Yeah.
All right. Who is your least favorite guitar player?
Oh my God.
Both technically and personally.
I don't know if there's anybody I don't like, honestly. Like, it's, you know, it's like, what a boring PC answer.
Right.
Like, but it's just, I don't really know if there's anybody I don't like. I will say this. I don't know if I would call it my least favorite guitar player. I'm not the world's biggest Hendrix fan. And it's funny because I play Hendrix songs in the Alice Cooper show, and I love playing the Hendrix songs. It's fun for me, like, because it's real wild. But if I was gonna go, this is such an unpopular opinion, and everyone's gonna go, oh,
How
know
dare
what she's
you.
talking about. But if I was gonna go on a road trip by myself in the car, I probably wouldn't put on Jimi Hendrix. That's my. Thank you. We got one.
Well, the thing, let me say this because that was my era. That was just before my era when I
Right.
started playing. And I didn't play with click tracks. I didn't play digital. I played analog, like I said. And Jimi Hendrix didn't have click tracks, and he didn't play where his tuning was perfect or his timing was perfect. He played and used the sound that came out of his guitar and came out of his amplifier. He used his feedback. If his amplifier made a noise, he channeled that noise into something, into sound, and made it work. That's why some people don't understand his playing, because it wasn't slop, it was just real. And he didn't have a pedal board. He may have used a wah-wah or a univibe just to give him a little bit of a flange. But his music was channeled through feedback, through distortion, through whatever. And a lot of people these days might call it slop, but it was his style. It was his style of playing.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
This question's mainly for Lita, and it's a little bit trivial, but I've always wanted to know the answer. Have you ever heard Sandra Bernhard's cover of Kiss Me Deadly and Just Like a Pill combined? And if you have, what do you think of the arrangement and the way she does it?
I haven't heard it. But I love Just Like a Pill. I love that song.
But just for reference, there's two recorded versions, one when she did it first and one when she was on tour. The original one, I think it's off the Bad and Beautiful album maybe, is much better than the touring version because she's got more backup singers and things.
Awesome, thank
Very
you.
theatrical, so it may not be your thing, but...
Thank you.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
I wanted to ask, kind of ask about favorite guitar players, but a lot of people, guitarists, refer to their favorite albums as well. A lot of people mention Led Zeppelin 2 and things like that, Beatles' White Album. So as far as you guys' favorite album of all time from any musician, that separate from what is the, like, you're hanging out at your house, you're cleaning, you're cooking, you're comfortable, what's that song that you love to play over and over again?
Depends on what kind of mood I'm in.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. That's a tough question.
We have one that we play right before we go on stage. And if for some reason we don't have that song, the whole band is fucked up. Nobody knows what's going on, what time is it? Do we go on now? Or nobody knows what's going on. But if we have that song playing, everyone's in order, we know how many minutes we have, right down to the second, and then the intro tape rolls, and that song is Balls to the Walls by Accept. And we all do a prayer, like we huddle, we do a football huddle during Balls to the Walls. And our drummer, Bobby Rock, let's crush some skulls tonight. And we do the football chant. It's awesome.
That is
Balls to the
awesome.
walls.
That's awesome. We have our little pre-show ritual too, but there's not a song to it. I feel like we should have a song now. I'm trying to think what just one song that I would put on when I was just hanging out. And something that I always think of is Satriani Summer Song, because it's kind of an anytime happy jam. You know, it's something that they can actually play on the radio. I hear it on Hair Nation every once in
Right.
a while. Like, you know, it's sort of a crossover song from instrumental into rock, because it sounds like a rock song. So that's kind of like my go-to one that I think of, like what would I put on a road trip by myself with the windows down? I think it's Summer Song by Satriani.
Since you asked, Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. That one.
I guess if I had to pick a monumental album, I'd just have to stick with the Vi theme and go with Passion and Warfare, because it was just so life-changing for me to hear those sounds coming out of the guitar, and like you were talking about with the feedback, like really utilizing the sounds from the amp, the ringing of the guitar, the sound of, the guitar up against the amp, and just, it was really monumental for
You
me.
could hear the click of the pickups. and
Totally.
All
Yeah.
that stuff was clear, and you could hear it. No one took it out. No one
Incredible.
took the time
Yeah.
to erase that. It's like, don't take that out. That's attitude right there. You can hear changing the pickups. That's cool.
I got that cassette in my first of many non-paid for Columbia House memberships.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know? Oh my God, that's right. You don't know what that is. Oh my God, I'm so old. You could pay a penny for like 15 cassettes, but then you were signed up for like 3 years, and you had to buy like 5 or 6 cassettes over 3 years. But they would send you the cassette, and you had to remember to return it.
Oh, God, I have no memory.
Yeah.
I'm like Dory.
And then that later went to CDs, and then it later was bankrupt because nobody ever paid for them.
That makes no sense at all. It sounds like
Yep.
a terrible business
Yep.
model.
I got a lot of great cassettes out of that.
What did we get him
Yeah.
from? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
What did they say in Billy Madison? That I award you no points. And everyone is now dumber for having heard it.
It was basically Napster for the 80s.
All right. What's Napster?
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. What was your most influential album?
My most oh my God, I had a lot of them. Probably early Deep Purple. Deep Purple and rock, Deep Purple Fireball, Machine Head, Deep Purple and rock.
We're going on tour with them actually this summer.
Oh, wow.
And I found out from Twitter.
Nice.
No one told me.
Oh God.
but,
Is Blackmore in
I
the band?
literally have no information at all other than this is the tour that's happening. It's Alice Cooper, Deep Purple, and Edgar Winter.
What?
Yeah, and I sent the flyer to my mom, and she said, "Wow, I wish this tour was happening like in today's time." And I said, it is, it's this summer. Because I didn't have a date on the flyer. So yeah, so I'm excited to hear those Deep Purple songs.
It's
and
Steve Morse, right?
I
Steve Morse
believe
on
so.
guitar?
I hope
Because I
so.
know Rishi's got a hair up his ass or something, but he won't play with Deep Purple.
It would be amazing. If it's Steve Morse, I'll definitely be getting a guitar lesson every day that I see that show. 'Cause that
Nice.
guy's
Well, good
incredible.
luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
That's awesome.
What?
Great answers, all of them. Question.
This guy's a hair.
Yeah, thanks, appreciate it. I've often found that, different keys have different feels. I'm sure you're aware of that. Like D minor is the saddest of all keys, yes. And E, I think, is a very powerful key. It's dark and powerful. What key do you think most epitomizes female power, like girl power?
There isn't one.
There's
No.
not one?
It's universal. Girl power is for everybody.
Right. Rock on. Yeah. I like that.
That's a dumb question.
Like you thought we were gonna go for the G
He
string
was at my
key or
booth.
something.
We've had a conversation. We're old friends.
I'll tell you
Thank
one
you.
thing. I don't like playing in B or B flat.
Oh.
I don't like it.
I got a lot of B flat songs, and they can
I don't
screw
like
you
it.
up.
First of all, I'd like to thank you both for coming.
Thank you for coming.
And my name's Dave, and my question is for Ms. Strauss. As a young kid growing up in California, I gave a yo-yo to my friend Jason Becker.
Wow.
And I was wondering if you had ever seen his video, and what do you think of his playing back then and now?
You just touched on one of my favorite topics of all time because I love talking about Jason. So thank you.
That was my yo-yo.
Thank you. That's your. So in the video in Japan, is that your yo-yo in the video? I was just talking. Who was I talking to? Yep, right there. I was talking to him.
We were talking before the
Oh,
show.
okay. I was talking to him about that exact yo-yo. So this is so cool that this conversation has come back around. Jason, for me, was probably, I would say, in my top 5 most influential guitar players because of the incredible joy that he played with. There's a lot of guitar players with great technique, but what Jason had in his passion came through in every note that he played. And for those that don't know Jason Becker's story, I really, really want to encourage you guys to go on iTunes and check out, there's a documentary called Jason Becker's Not Dead Yet, which is a really incredible story. And just have like a tissue ready or something, because I cried. Everybody that, anybody that watches it and has a heart will cry and see the story, because I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but it's really an incredible, incredible story. And getting to visit Jason, was it, 2 years ago now? Really? I got to go and visit Jason at his house, and yeah, I got to go to the house, play his guitars, talk with him about music. I got some great advice from him, and I think that joy is still there. That joy and that passion for music, that passion for guitar playing, is something that lives on and can inspire all of us every single day. If Jason can live with ALS for as long as he has and still be writing and composing incredible music, I think every single one of us can get back up and practice a little extra today. So it's really, really inspirational.
You should check out his ice bucket video too. It's really funny.
Thank you. I could have gone on about that for a lot longer.
What does he do with the yo-yo, though?
Oh
Where
my
does
God,
that
you have
fit
to
in?
see this. So he
I don't get
plays.
it.
He plays with one hand. There's this video of him in Japan. He's playing with one hand. He's doing these yo-yo
Yeah.
tricks, playing this stuff that, I studied
Speed.
Jason. Like
So he's
Just pure
hammering on
speed.
the
doing these
strings
hammer-on
and-
pull-off legato stuff, like these incredible licks, and I studied this stuff, and I can sort of play it with one hand, but I couldn't do a yo-yo. I'm telling you, he's walking around like this. And playing like it's nothing. It's cool.
Oh my God.
And it's like, it is so cool.
Oh, wow.
And the stuff he did with Marty Friedman and Cacophony and all that, it's just.
Well, that's probably something that he discovered to keep his hand off of the strings.
Totally.
So he could work
It's all
on his
muscle memory.
pull-offs.
Yeah,
Wow.
probably.
What do I do with my hand? Put it
Yeah.
here. No. that ain't working, let's play with a yo-yo.
Yeah, totally.
It keeps his mind off of the,
Yeah.
and keeps it on the strings, and he's able to do those pull-offs.
I saw in the documentary that Jason talked about, I think his mom, somebody was talking about how he would keep like a spare guitar neck with him in the car, and when he got to red lights, he would practice at the red light.
Oh my
Like
God.
that's, if Jason
We
can do that
text.
at 16, yeah. If we make it to the red light. If Jason can be doing that, at 16 and writing and recording the kind of stuff that he did at that age, I think, like I said, every single one of us can practice an extra 15 minutes. For sure.
Wow.
Well, sort of piggyback onto that, who do you guys think are some of the up-and-coming greats?
Us?
Well,
Totally.
Up-and-coming greats.
or
love
people
that.
that have the potential
I
to
love
be.
a lot of the girls that just participated in that She Rocks album are, I think, incredible talents like Gretchen Mend and Neely Brosh, Yvette Young and Sarah Longfield. And these are just the chicks. Like, these are just the girls I'm talking about. There's
I
Irene
loved that
Katakidi.
keyboard player.
Oh, she's amazing.
I got her phone number. She was so good. I have
So
no
good.
idea who she.
No.
Black lady, beautiful black woman, and she had on that rhinestone nose ring,
Like a
and
big
she
nose
looked
ring.
amazing on stage.
Yeah, and she just plays the keyboard like nobody's business.
She
It
played
was
the
crazy.
beginning of Kiss Me Deadly, and I thought my pants were going to fall down because it was like low end. Whoa,
It was big.
And I thought, I have to have this girl's phone number. This is good.
And just to divert from the girl thing, there is an awesome guitar player named Angel Vivaldi, who is he's my hero. He's like my favorite up and coming. Aside from the girls we just mentioned, if anybody's interested in checking out some amazing instrumental music, Angel Vivaldi's awesome. I have a song on his upcoming album that we did a duet together. So
Nice.
he's
That's
definitely one of everybody should check this guy out.
Cool. Cool.
Do you guys think rock and roll is making a comeback?
Yes.
From where?
Well,
Yes.
it seems to have fallen,
It did
I
fall.
remember in the 80s, growing up as a kid,
Yeah.
a teenager in the 80s, the top 10 was full, on the top 40 radio, you would hear Lita Ford with Tiffany, followed by Poison and Guns N' Roses with Rick Astley. It was all played together. And
It
that
was all
seemed,
riff rock.
it seemed to sort of
80s.
peak with the alternative movement and then kind of died out, and pop really sort of
Yeah, the
sort of
grunge
overtook
scene
everything.
kicked in
Yeah.
the late 90s. There was Nirvana before
Right.
Kurt Cobain passed away.
Or what I
and
like to
all
call
the other
90s
bands.
harmless rock. Like,
Rock did disappear
Yeah.
for a while, and it does feel to me like it's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I've been gone for 15 years out of the music industry. I had 2 sons,
Mm-hmm.
and I lived on a deserted island, so I was completely disconnected from civilization and music.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a radio, we didn't have a telephone, we didn't have a television. I was completely disconnected.
you missed a lot of crap, so.
Well, I was very busy, but I missed a time in era that I was not part of, and I didn't need to be a part of the grunge scene, because that's not who I am. And when I did come back, I didn't try to, I've got to listen to what's going on. I need to know, what does today's music sound like? I just thought, fuck all that. I'm just going to be Lita. I don't need to listen to what other people are playing because I'm Lita. I can play what I want. I've earned it, and I can play it. So I wrote Living Like a Runaway, the album, and people loved it. They loved it. And I didn't really understand that the rock scene had died down so much. Didn't know that. Or I probably wouldn't have written Living Like a Runaway. And I'm glad I didn't listen, because what came out of me was real and true and honest guitar playing. And then all of a sudden, we started getting all these other artists from the 80s that were trying to put back together these musical bands that people love and people miss. You know, I mean, just because we're a little older doesn't mean we're dead and we don't want to hear music anymore. We still want to rock. So there's more people coming back from the 80s or trying to simulate what they played in the 80s.
My 16-year-old picked up a guitar about a year ago, and all he plays is Iron Maiden.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
he's trying hard to get the Dimebag riffs right.
Awesome.
Some Pantera. So I was like, I have succeeded as a parent.
Good job.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I mean,
job.
when I was a teenager in 2003.
Yesterday when I was a teenager.
I started out with, listening to Pantera, listening
Yeah.
to Metallica, listening to all that stuff. So I didn't have this experience of rock not being around. And then I started playing in Femme Fatale. I started playing in a tribute band called the Iron Maidens. I started playing, So my experience from the time that I started playing guitar at 13 was always, metal's cool, rock is cool, and yeah, it wasn't on the radio all the
Right.
time, but I mean, it didn't really have
Didn't
to
need
be.
to be.
Didn't really have to be. It was, for me, guitar solos were always cool. Metallica was always cool. Iron Maiden was always cool. So there wasn't really this, I hear people talk about this resurgence of rock, and I'm like, where did it go?
Yeah, you were too
know.
young. I don't think you were there
I'm
when it
glad.
happened. And I disappeared because I couldn't stand it.
Right.
I thought, okay, now's a
That
good
island
time to
sounds
go
pretty
have
good.
kids.
Yeah.
So I went and had my boys. But during that time, a guitar solo was considered wrong.
Verboten.
Like, don't put a guitar solo in this song. It's got a guitar solo in it. It was almost like the 80s or the early 90s were a bad word, dirty word. You came from the 80s, we don't want to listen to your music.
Right.
Now there's movies out on the 80s and people are trying to simulate
Right.
all the riffs and even especially Alice and his wonderful songs.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Love his songs. But it seems like a lot of people are coming back, and a lot of the younger people are starting to simulate those riffs again. Those
Which is
riffs
awesome.
are coming back.
Because I'm sorry, when I look at the Billboard music charts, 21 Pilots and Imagine Dragons are not rock.
Didn't Beyonce just get
They are not
nominated
rock and
for
roll.
Best rock
Yes.
song?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
not rock and roll.
Did she win?
I don't know.
Who won? Who won Best Rock
Who
Song?
won?
Adele
Adele.
won Best Rock
Adele.
Song?
That's not rock.
But she's not
I
rock.
don't
That's
think
not
that's-
rock.
I don't think
Oh.
that's correct.
Now, see, we need to fix this. It's
Yep.
up to us
My
to
phone
fix
is-
this.
You
My
guys
phone
fix
is
it.
somewhere.
Get on that. Chip chop.
But,
we
but
do.
either way, I think the best metal performance, the Grammys, Metallica not getting introduced at the Grammys, and the house band playing a Metallica song when Megadeth won their Grammy. I mean, this is the kind of thing we all need to work together to raise the awareness, to bring the gospel of rock and heavy metal to the forefront. So this
Yeah.
kind of stuff doesn't happen. How do you forget the name Metallica? Like,
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing. I think if every single one of us in this room works together, we can bring that back.
Come on.
Yeah, bring it
And
up.
there's becoming more and more of us every day. There's
Absolutely.
more and more of us.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Before I mention this, let me grab this thing. I really want to apologize. They mentioned the 80s, and my cousin is actually Madonna. My real cousin is Madonna. So I wanted to apologize for her behavior, and she does not represent anywhere in the Coonan family. From Bay City, Michigan, onward. I live here, and I'm just wanting to apologize because you keep mentioning the 80s, and I wanted to apologize on that because.
What'd she do?
Well, the 80s don't need any apologies.
What hasn't she done?
She did it
On
all,
behalf
man.
of all of us, she is forgiven.
Yep.
I don't really pay, I don't know. I liked your videos. I thought those were cool.
Politics.
All good.
Is it politics?
Politics.
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Everybody, Madonna
good.
was fine. Madonna in the 80s was fine. Thank you.
That's
Well
what it was.
deserved.
Well
Yes,
deserved.
Black
yeah,
Mirror.
David Bowie.
Yeah. Definitely. See, rock is coming back.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think I think that is all the time we have. You guys will be back signing tomorrow.
We'll be there.
Yes.
Awesome. And what do you guys have coming up? What can we look forward to other than the tour this summer?
We go back out on the road in April, and we're basically on the road the rest of the year. So if you can always check out nitastrauss.com or alicecooper.com or social media to see what we're up to.
We go back out on the road next week to Romania.
Whoa.
Wow.
Bring a jacket.
Just to start, I know, right? I'm hoping I can
Florida
get
to
back in the
Romania.
country because I'm not an American citizen. I'm worried about, I'm like, shoot, am I going to get stuck in Romania? I better take a coat or something. Definitely. But I released a book called Living Like a Runaway. It's the first.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's the first autobiographical story about a chick in the rock world and how I had to jump all these hurdles to get to where I am today. And it's interesting, a lot of love lives, a lot of guys I met who are in the music industry. And it's a tell-all book that's 5 stars on Amazon. It's doing great.
Well,
National
I know what
bestseller.
I'm going to buy when I get back to my room tonight.
Oh, God. And we'll be on tour. We'll be on tour. Hopefully we'll do some shows together. I'd love
Great.
it.
Absolutely. You're going to have to try to keep me off that stage.
I know, I'd love it.
And I just want to say thank you to all you guys for coming to this too. This is a really cool experience for me to get to be here and do a talk like this with these guys, and it's just very, very cool. So thank you to you guys for being here as well. And thanks to James for
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Lita Ford and Nita Strauss, everybody.